Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Inflation climbed to 4.9% in August. That is the highest since January of 2019. Almost 7% of Filipinos, meanwhile, remained unemployed. To give us the latest on these economic figures, we have Dale De Vera now joining us live from Mandaluyong. Dale, good morning. Good afternoon, rather. What do you have for us?
Charles, prices of commodities went up faster in August as government registers higher inflation figures, the highest since January 2019. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority showed the surge in inflation as it hit 4.9% in August 2021, higher than July's 4% and last year's 2.4%. PSA said that the uptrend in the country's inflation was mainly brought about by the higher annual increment in the index of the heavily weighted food and non-alcoholic beverages at 6.5% during the month. Annual increases were also higher in the indices of the several commodity groups, including alcoholic beverages and tobacco, clothing and footwear, housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, as well as transport. Meanwhile, inflation in areas outside of NCR rose to 5.2% in August 2021 from July's 4.3%. PSA said 14 out of 16 regions outside NCR posted an uptrend. Only Mimaropa and Caraga regions' inflation rate went down. PSA also issued its latest labor workforce survey and said that an unemployment rate settled at 6.9%, lowest since the start of the pandemic in early 2020. The data showed that the 3.1 million unemployed persons above 15 years old in July 2021 was lower compared to the 4.6 million registered in July 2020, also slightly lower in June's 2021's 3.8 million. July 2021's employment rate also recorded the highest since April 2020 at 93.1%. ING's senior economist Nicolas Mapa said that that they expect elevated inflation and the recently recorded 6.9% unemployment level will weigh on the Philippine economic recovery, while expecting full-year GDP to slide to 3.8% below the official government target of 4 to 5%. Charles, BSP Governor Ben Jokno in a statement said that August inflation is still well within the BSP's target of 4.1 to 4.9%. Jokno said the BSP stands ready to maintain its accommodative monetary stance for as long as necessary to support the economy's sustained recovery to the extent that the inflation would allow. Meanwhile, the Labor Department is yet to release its statement on the latest labor workforce survey. Charles?
Thanks for those updates, Dale. That was Dale De Vera reporting live from Mandaluyong. The Interior Department says there will be 4 alert levels for the implementation of the granular lockdown, which will undergo pilot testing starting tomorrow. Interior Undersecretary Pimaco Densing tells Radyo 5 that there will be no more community quarantine classifications, such as MECQ or GCQ, once the granular lockdowns take effect. But he clarifies that the IATF may still place certain high-risk areas under ECQ. Metro Manila will remain under GCQ during the pilot run of granular lockdowns. But once approved, the quarantine classifications will be replaced by alert levels decided upon by the health department. Under alert level 4, or the strictest alert level, specific activities like meetings or conferences will be prohibited, especially in closed spaces. Alfresco dining is permitted under alert level 4, but dine-ins are strictly prohibited. Capacity restrictions on establishments will ease once areas are downgraded to lower alert levels.
Alert level 3 naman, 30% capacity. So yun, pwede ka nang mag-dine in at to 30% capacity. Pag alert 2 naman, 50% capacity. At ang alert 1, ito na yung pinaka-new normal natin. At importante na lang po yung pagpapractice ng minimum public health standards.
Meanwhile, the health department says testing and contact tracing will need to be enhanced to keep up with granular lockdowns. Undersecretary Leopoldo Vega tells One News' The Chiefs that granular lockdowns paired with more testing and contact tracing will help strike a balance between opening the economy and putting up necessary public health interventions.
implementing and the execution of this in the local government unit has to be very strict and with certain rules, because this is the only way that we can keep the transmission low.
San Lazaro Hospital Chief Ronjin Solante says granular lockdowns is not the solution, this time amid the high number of cases. Speaking with Agenda, Solante questioned the national government's move to experiment with granular lockdowns in Metro Manila. This as the country continues to break records in terms of daily new cases. And Solante said that due to the surge in infections, the government might just have to place the entire NCR under lockdown.
What we're seeing now is talagang hindi na natin ma-control to kung ganito lang, no? And we are experimenting something na hindi pa natin nagagawa before in the midst ng ang taas-taas ng mga kaso, no? So that's just my point. If the trend will be like this in the next 2 to 3 days, 22, 20, 20, I don't think a granular lockdown can be the solution at this point in time because of the enormous number of cases that you need to really put a stop in the mobility of people in order to get what we want in terms of lowering the risk of transmission and lower the cases.
Meanwhile, the Philippine College of Physicians is also urging the government to reconsider placing Metro Manila under GCQ starting tomorrow. In an interview with the chiefs, PCP President Maricar Limpin said they are planning to appeal the shift to GCQ over concerns of case spikes in an already embattled health sector.
Natatakot ang mga kasamahan ko na dito sa GCQ kasi talagang puno na kami, no? So, tapos i-GCQ pa natin. So, definitely we can expect further increase, no, in the number of cases. And kung sa ngayon ay nahihirapan na kami, no, sa pagtanggap ng mga pasyente, lalong-lalo na kapag tumaas pa ang kaso natin ng COVID-19.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. The health department recorded another all-time high of new COVID-19 infections at 22,415. The DOH says interventions must be done to dodge the worst-case scenario, hitting new cases hitting an average of 43,000 per day. And the showbiz industry mourns the passing of celebrated photographer to the stars, Raymund. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on SignalPlay. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.